What's up, y'all? Ben from the Fantasy Chairmen Podcast and the Sasquatch Square-Off here, and I want to tell you all about Anchor. If you've ever thought about getting into the podcasting game, you need to be using Anchor. For one, it's free. That's right, completely free, and you get unlimited storage to hold all your episodes, all your audio clips, all your listener voice messages in one place, making it super easy for you to use. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. It's literally as easy as clicking a button. You can make money from your podcast on Anchor with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Well, one thing that I want to talk about is that, you know how all the restaurants are basically closed up?
Yeah, restaurants have been closed for sure. Depends on where you're at, I guess.
Well, that's true, but I have come to a conclusion that I am all out of things to cook. And everything is getting like to the point where the people in my house, even my 2-year-old, is like, this sucks, dude. We've had this like 3 times this week.
I haven't gone grocery shopping in weeks.
I don't know how that's possible.
I just go and get takeout all the time. Yeah. Or my, family invites me to have dinner with them or whatever. But
I wish my family would invite me. I'm just kidding. I
don't know, man.
I don't know why. I'm just stubborn. I'm like, I can do this. I was a cook. And then I just
want to cook. But hey, you got your guitar. You ready to get into this episode?
Let's do it.
Hey, man. Let's do it. And 1, 2, 3, here we go! This is a show from a couple of geeks, nay, a man and a beast. And it's not just a bunch of ramblings, it's a show to tell you who to draft and play for your rise to fantasy football power! We dive into drafts and analytics to help with your fantasy. We choose your 4 favorite players and debate their ADP, yeah! We've held the trophy, been champions, even paid bills with winnings. We've drafted on Sleeper and ESPN to win our leagues again. Rock! Woo! Talking Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes today.
And Ezekiel, Elliott, and Alvin, Kamara.
Yeah! Got a good show in store for you, folks. Sasquatch Square-Off. Matt, we are here with episode 1, and we've got a good one on tap for them today.
We're laced up and ready to square off.
That's right. I'm going to battle a Sasquatch. Luckily, he's calmed down a little bit since I found him back in that cave. If you haven't listened to the origin story of the Sasquatch, go back and hit that first episode in our feed, because it's a doozy.
Mm-hmm.
An absolute doozy.
I have mixed feelings about that. Embarrassment is one of them.
Hey, we decided that we needed to show your true self to the world, and how far you've come.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
that's the other one. I feel kind of proud of myself.
Just plucking a guitar in a cave by yourself to now we're singing theme songs.
Yeah. Times have changed.
We're clearly not musicians.
Not anywhere close.
But at least, we're trying to give you something a little different.
Yeah, fun. It's definitely fun.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, we certainly have a good show on tap today. My name is Ben of the Fantasy Chairmen, and I've got Matt Baty, the Fantasy Sasquatch here.
Hey.
We are on social medias at Chairman Fantasy and at Fantasy Squatch. You can find us on there, but we're going to be talking a little Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Alvin Kamara, and Ezekiel Elliott. So it's going to be a good battle between the two of us today.
Zeke the Freak. Kamara and the Freak.
Kamara and the Freak. Sheesh. Yeah, it's going to be good. What are you thinking about how the NFL season is going to go there, Squatch?
Everything's really weird right now, but I hope that it just kind of evens out.
You hoping that we're going to get through a full season?
Too bad they can't have like NFL Island.
Like
Fight Island.
Man, that's what they should do. Just
that'd be so cool.
Set up a field and send them to an island for 16 weeks.
You know that they would be so hyped to be on an island by themselves. Like, oh, the game's over. Let's go hang out at the blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
We're all friends after the game.
They just have 32 practice fields set up along the island.
Yeah, just adjacent fields. I love it. They can go put their feet in the sand.
That sounds like a Sasquatch paradise to me.
I want to be there.
Watching football practices and games.
How much more like inclined would you be to being a pro athlete if there was an NFL island?
That would be pretty sweet.
Let's
just go seclude us away from everybody else. And
yeah, it's like you don't need to even worry about all of this like worldly stuff. It's almost like an Elysium sort of setting. You're just in this like area of like, I don't want to say elite or anything, but you just go and play football and people film it and pay you money, and then after that you basically live in paradise with other football players.
Man,
I mean, obviously you'd miss your family.
Could be. Well, there is that.
They can't come to the island.
They probably cannot come to the island. You could give maybe like a 2-week
voucher,
like buy or something in there that you can go and
where they could come to the island, or you could go away from the island.
You go away. I don't know, just to see your family. But oof. I don't know. It could be scary. I guess the family could come to the island, but
you'd have to wear a GoPro.
Either way, contamination galore, and that's not what we're about. Anyway. Sasquatch Square-Off. We do want this to be a bit of a quicker show for you. We want to get right into the meat and the fight of everything.
The marrow.
The marrow. We want to dig directly into the marrow, coming from the Sasquatch himself.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do. So, without further ado, we are going to take you to a break. Then we'll go over debate structure, and then we're going to get into our rounds.
Hey everyone, Alex and Ben with the Fantasy Chairmen here. I wanted to let you all in on a great opportunity to win some awesome signed memorabilia while also being able to give back to a great cause.
This August and September, the Fantasy Chairmen are holding a raffle drawing contest where 100% of the proceeds will go to the Roundup City Racers, a nonprofit 501c3 fundraising program created by coaches of the Pendleton High School track and cross-country teams to provide athletic and scholarship opportunities to the youth of Pendleton, Oregon.
By purchasing a ticket to the Fantasy Chairman Fall Raffle Fundraiser, you will be contributing to a great cause. All proceeds go directly to the Roundup City Racers and back into the youth of Pendleton, Oregon, and any contributions you make is completely tax deductible. You also have the chance to win either a signed Todd Gurley LA Rams jersey or a signed Allen Robinson Chicago Bears jersey.
So what are you waiting for? For more information, visit www.fantasychairman.com and click on the Pay It Forward tab, or click the link in this episode's description. And we're back in. Here we are, Matt, for the very first Sasquatch Square-Off. 2 rounds. We're going to duke it out over the average draft position of some star players today. Okay, we've got Ezekiel Elliott squaring off against Alvin Kamara. Matt, you're going to be defending Ezekiel Elliott. I will take Alvin Kamara. And then in round 2, we've got Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes. I'll defend Lamar Jackson, and you will have Patrick Mahomes. Now, the way this is going to work, the way we want the Sasquatch Square-Off podcast, our debates to work, is we will have, like I said, 2 rounds of pitting players against each other, and these are players that have similar average draft positions as you're going through your redraft drafts. So we're focusing in on 1 QB redraft leagues that are typically 12 teams and half PPR scoring. And the way the structure of this debate is going to go is during round 1, Matt is going to get 3 minutes to go over Ezekiel Elliott and give his analytical case on why you should draft Ezekiel Elliott at his position. And then I will get 3 minutes to go over Alvin Kamara and give my analytical case for why you should take Alvin Kamara. At the very end of that, we're going to leave it a little open that we can kind of go back and forth and give our opinions on why you should take each one of these guys. And then round 2 will act the same. We'll just have different players at different draft positions, but what we want to do is these are guys that you're going to be sitting there in your draft looking at them and you think, man, I would be happy to take either one of these guys. But Matt wants to sway you to why you should take one, and I want to sway you to why you should, go the other way. But I mean, either way, especially in these top rounds that we're debating, we're going first and second round ADPs here. You're going to be happy with getting any of these guys.
Yeah. And the other thing too is that when we get a little farther into the show, there'll be players in the 4th, 5th, 6th round. They'll be a little more relevant and a little more head scratching league winner type matchups. These ones are more just to kind of make you feel good about who you're drafting.
Yeah, we want to start the show off in our first episode with some studs, some stars. Get you drawn in,
some studlies,
hearing this, and then we'll start taking the deep dives as we go further into our episodes before the NFL season starts, and then we'll hit you with some fun stuff throughout the season once we get into that. But that'll be later once the NFL season starts. Some rules reminders. We're going to have a timer on going over our analytics here. We don't want to keep meandering on with stuff. So we'll get through that. And then we get one record scratch, okay? One record scratch between the 2 rounds. So you don't get one per round, Matt.
Nope, one for the episode.
Okay?
That's what I've been told.
You Fantasy Sasquatch.
I tattooed that on my forearm.
Control yourself, okay? No hitting that several times, okay? You can't do that.
I won't do it.
One, and so what the record scratch does is during our analytical portion of our debates, if something comes up that we have a rebuttal to, or we're just like, whoa, slow your roll, I've got something to say about that, then you get one time to hit the record scratch.
You get wicked.
I just thought I'd abuse it now because I cannot abuse it later because those are the rules, Matt.
Why not?
All right? And with that, I think we're ready for round 1.
Send it.
Get your gloves on?
I do. Let's lace up.
All right.
Pony boy.
Let's do it.
Round 1. Fight.
And Matt is on the clock for why you should take Ezekiel Elliott.
Okay, first off, let's go with consistency. Career fantasy finishes for Ezekiel Elliott. 2016, he was the RB2. 2017, he was the RB12. 2018 RB5, 2019 RB3. Mm-hmm. So I would say he is probably consistently going to put you in the top 5 RBs. Okay. So there's literally, barring some sort of freak injury, no worries about that. And moving on the injury segment, he has not specifically missed a game due to an injury, but he has missed a handful due to suspensions and holdouts. That's kind of up to speculation if you want to talk about his maturity and where he's at now. I don't really want to get into that. But rushing attempts, okay.
Hold up. So
that was quick.
So you're not worried about his off the field issues or anything? You don't really want to get into that?
I pled the 5th. I think that money talks. I'm going to try and say as many sort of things to get away from this topic because
Oh, is that what you're going to? Yeah. How many, has he had any issues recently? I'll give you a softball.
I think he's been in his house recently, just kind of quarantined bubble boy. Not saying COVID or anything, but he's been more bubble boyed lately.
All right. Fair enough. All right. You're back in.
Okay.
Back on the clock.
Back to rushing attempts. 322, 242, 304, 301. So he's consistently going to get you around 17 to 19 carries a game. And that's for the past 4 years. His yards per attempt, 4.5, 4.7, 4.1, and last year, 5.1. His yards per game, 108, 98, 95, 85. So this guy's not only showing you his ability to be consistent, but he's also showing you over 4 years he's statistically gonna give you what you want. You basically are drafting exactly what you get from Zeke, and it's pretty transparent. And then receptions. I'm so glad that you already used your Wicca. That's great. Receptions, 32, 26, 77, 54. So we have a little bit of an outlier there, but it kind of looks like I'm not going to say exponentially, but he's kind of making his way towards getting more receptions and getting more into the passing game. We saw I think the number is 166 or around 150 targets leaving with Randall Cobb and Jason Witten. Fumbles per game, it's never been a problem. 5.163. Scrimmage yards per game. He's getting, his first season was around 2,000, and then he went down to 1,200, and then he went back up to 2,000, and then 1,700 last season. So he's going to get you probably around 1,700. That's probably where he's at, barring, a drop down season. And that 1,254, I believe, was that suspension year or some sort of holdout. His offensive line is solid and always has been. He's going to go into 2020 with the number 3 offensive line rated from Pro Focus. And he's going to have he had the number 4 in 2018. And bada boom, bada bang.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all the time you get. Way to get through that. I'm gonna take you back real quick though, because I already used my wicca, so I couldn't stop you. I'm gonna take you back to the fumbles really quick. And I'm just helping you out here.
Oh,
now
okay.
the fumbles. It wasn't fumbles per game, right? It's fumbles per season.
I wrote per game. Yeah.
Okay.
No, he's not. Yeah.
Ezekiel Elliott is not averaging 5, 1, 6, and 3 fumbles per game. He's averaging.
He's not Jeremy Hill.
He's
going to get you 6 fumbles a year.
That's what he's had per year.
That's his most.
Last year he had 3 fumbles in the season. 2 years before that had 1 fumble in the season.
Ewok basically puts the football inside of his jersey.
You threw me off really quick. I thought I got easy toss-up homer right there with fumbles per game. It's like, okay, man, if that's what he's doing per game, then you should easily go Alvin Kamara.
Typo.
All right. Okay.
I'm going to wecca you so hard.
Oh, yeah, I bet you are. Okay, and here we go with Alvin Kamara. And I am on the clock now. All right, so Alvin Kamara is being drafted 4th overall at the 104 average, right behind Ezekiel Elliott. Alvin Kamara has been just an absolute stud for all 3 years that he's been in the league for career fantasy finishes. He has been RB12 in 2019. That was last year. RB4 in 2018. RB3 in 2017, his rookie season. Kamara missed 2 games in 2019 with ankle and knee injuries, and he played hurt for a majority of the season. He's come out and he's talked about that himself, how he was not 100% and yet still maintained the RB12 finish last year. In 2019, he had 5 rushing touchdowns. In 2018, he had 14 rushing touchdowns. I'm smelling some positive regression in that regard. Yeah. And 1 receiving touchdown in 2019, 4 in 2018, 5 in 2017. I'm getting a good little whiff of positive regression again. So I'm thinking his touchdowns in general are just going to go up going into 2020. In 2019, he had 171 rushing attempts. In 2018, he had 194. And as I talked about before, he missed 2 games last year. So I think those rushing attempts are only going to go up this year, probably closer to that 200 range in there. In 2019, he had 797 rushing yards. And in 2018, 883 rushing yards. So again, I think with the rushing attempts, those rushing yards are going to go up. And this is all assuming that these players stay healthy. If there's an injury, we cannot predict for that. So in 2019, Alvin Kamara averaged 4.7 yards per carry, 4.6 yards per carry in 2018, and then 6.1 in 2017. So Kamara's been a bit of a beast in the yards per carry factor. The lowest amount of receiving targets that Alvin Kamara has seen in his career was 97. And so this is where Kamara makes his money. This is where he gets you all those fantasy points, as he is just a dominant force as a receiving back. For all 3 years of his career, Alvin Kamara has had exactly 81 receptions every single year. So if you're planning to project out Kamara, you need to project him out for 81 receptions.
We live in a simulation.
So 81 receptions was good for 3rd among running backs in 2019, 3rd in 2018, 2nd in 2017. He's always in the top 3 for receptions. He has 1,300 1,330 yards from scrimmage, which was the lowest of his career in 2019. I'm betting there's some positive regression there. They have the number 2 ranked offensive line going into 2020. And that's all I had time for there.
That was a biased ding ding. You got an extra second, I felt like.
Well, I tried to hit it quick, but
Okay. Okay, so now what?
Well, now we're putting 3 minutes on the clock, and we get.
I'm laced up, man.
Are you laced up?
I'm
you
laced.
You ready to rock?
Let's
here?
do this.
All right. So going into the free for all.
Ladies first.
Starting the timer. Set. Go. All right, man. So Alvin Kamara, I'm going to use this free-for-all to finish a couple of stats that I didn't put out there. So 1,500 plus yards from scrimmage in the previous 2 seasons, going back to that positive regression from the 1,330 that he had last year. Kamara's going to feast this year. Their O-line was ranked as number 5 last year, and like I said, number 2, they're ranked coming into 2020. They signed Emmanuel Sanders, who still has a little bit of juice left. I think that's going to be probably the best number 2 wide receiver for Drew Brees that he's had in the last several years. I mean, let's be honest, Traquan Smith doesn't do much to draw coverage off of Kamara or anybody like that. So you get Emmanuel Sanders on the outside there now, along with Michael Thomas. Woo! Oh baby, I'm looking forward to just Kamara just being open down low all the time.
If we're gonna start this, and this might have been a bad idea for you, let me just softball some things here. Amari Cooper, okay, I think you got him with the Michael Thomas thing, so that's great. But then let's keep going and meet your demise. Michael Gallup and Emmanuel Sanders. I'll take Gallup all day long.
Oh, I don't know about that.
And then there's this guy named CeeDee Lamb. He's supposed to be pretty good. I don't know how good he is.
All those receptions that Ezekiel was gaining are just going to disappear now, right?
There's 155 of them. I don't think that the rookie's going to take those. I mean,
between CeeDee Lamb and Blake Jarwin now, everybody loves Blake Jarwin, dude.
And I say 155. It's around 150. I don't know the exact number.
Yeah,
it's out there.
No, you're right. It's in there between 150 to 160 open receptions, I think.
Yeah. And we talked about scrimmage per yards, and I was thinking while you were talking, it felt like kind of like I was at Sizzler or like, you know, like Golden Corral. And then all of a sudden I looked at Zeke's scrimmage per game for the last 4 years with 1,900, 1,200, 2,000.
Scrimmage per season?
Scrimmage per season. I don't know what.
Quit going per game here, man.
I mess this up. I did this late at night. And then 1,700, and I feel more like I'm at a Las Vegas buffet with lobster and king crab. So I don't know what to tell you with that. I feel like scrimmage yards per game, when you get 17 carries, every sort of reception target, anything that comes out of the backfield is just kind of like dessert after all those oysters and king crabs.
You know, I'm just going to be honest with you. When I watch Ezekiel Elliott play just recently, you know, I don't get quite that jolt of excitement anymore. But when I watch Alvin Kamara get the ball, man, he's just – every time I see him, it just gets me fired up, ready to go.
That jolt that you see is called injury sustainability, and and that's why he never gets injured. He's just a moving Ewok he's a block of muscle, and when you get him, he's going to put his head down, but he's going to do it 16 more times.
Oh, man. He is a tank. He is a tank. And that'll do it for the free-for-all. There we go. So going back and forth, Ezekiel Elliott, Alvin Kamara. When it comes to those two in your draft, you should take Alvin Kamara.
I won.
So we'll see about that. Maybe you know, as we grow a little bit more, we'll start putting some polls out and see what people.
Yeah, there's no need for a poll in that first one, though.
Oh, there is. Oh. Absolutely.
I just sold Zeke in my dynasty 12 minutes ago. But I got a fortune for him. I got a King's ransom.
Half PPR formats. I'm going to take Kamara every time. All right. That was round 1. We did it. Going over the first round of your drafts there. Now, going into round 2, talking about a couple of guys that are being taken in the second round of drafts, even though it is 1 QB leagues that we're discussing here. But if you're taking these guys in the second rounds, you're probably going to be pretty happy with them still.
The future of football we're talking about.
We're always telling you to wait on quarterback in drafts, but These are a couple of guys that you could definitely make the case to take.
These are going to be value guys.
Early.
Yeah, you're going to want to you're not going to want to jump on these guys. If you draft these guys in the first round, then don't be that guy, please. But if these guys are going to fall a little bit, maybe end of the second, or what are we at? ADP, they're both like beginning of the second.
Yeah, ADP. So I'm going to be
value.
Talking about Lamar Jackson. Matt's talking about Patrick Mahomes. And again, this is redraft leagues.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson's ADP right now is 204, and Patrick Mahomes is, Lamar Jackson is 203. Patrick Mahomes is 206. And honestly, in a lot of the mocks I've been seeing Patty go first and then Lamar, but both of them are right in that 205 to 203 range.
Might have something to do with 500 million.
Yeah,
but it's a redraft, so who cares?
Yeah.
So much biasm.
Yeah, we're not talking dynasty here.
Yeah, no, I don't know what the deal is with that because Lamar Jackson is basically Mike Vick with he's a modern Mike Vick.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Possibly better. I mean,
he's a little better.
He broke his rushing record already, so for quarterbacks. All right. You ready to get into round two?
Yes, sir.
I'll start it off with Lamar Jackson, and I'll do my 3 minutes and then give you yours. Then we'll go from there. All right.
Round 2. Fight.
Okay, so Lamar Jackson, let's dive into it here. He had 401 pass attempts, 265 completions for a 66.1 completion percentage. That sounds pretty good for a running back, Matt. He threw for 3,127 yards, and he led the NFL with 36 passing touchdowns. He only threw 6 interceptions for an interception percentage of 1.5%. And then let's get into the really good stuff. This is also good for a running back. He rushed for 1,206 yards, which was good for 6th overall in the NFL in rushing yards. He had an average of 11.7 rush attempts per game, scored 7 rushing touchdowns, which tied for 14th overall in the NFL. In fantasy scoring, Lamar Jackson, on his rushing ability alone, would have finished as running back 23 among all running backs in the NFL.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, Ben.
Okay.
Here, can you finish this for me? I'm just going to do something real quick for you. Mike Vick, broken leg. Colin Kaepernick, destroyed shoulder. Lamar Jackson. Go ahead and Mad Lib fill in there if you'd like. Oh, you want to fill something in there for me?
Lead the league in rushing.
Oh,
I'll fill that in. How about that?
The guy. I'm not saying the guy is a glass. I'm not saying he's made of glass or anything like that. But I am saying that it's not a matter of if; it's more of a matter of when. And we are talking redraft. But if he's going to get the majority of his fantasy points from being a rusher. And he's not going to be bulky. He's not going to be, what's Zeke, like 220?
Yeah.
What's Lamar, like 203?
I think he's a little more than that. I'd have to look him up, but
I
didn't put his weight on here.
His durability is what scares me the most because especially in the year of COVID, you're going to want to have some confidence in your quarterback for sure. And you're in a 1 QB league. I don't know if Lamar Jackson's the guy for me.
I can understand that, I guess. But, when you watch Lamar Jackson run as compared to, like RG3 sort of people, Lamar Jackson tends to protect himself a little bit more as people get near him. You can see him kind of start tucking onto the ball a bit more. I've
seen him bust some people.
Definitely very beastly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He'll bust some people.
Yeah.
He's got spin moves like crazy.
He's mad.
And if he's near the sideline, he's going to step out of bounds before he gets hit. So I would say Lamar Jackson tends to take care of himself a little bit better, even when he is rushing like crazy, as opposed to some of those other guys. Yeah, it's a totally valid argument for the rushing quarterbacks, but man, if you watch Lamar Jackson run, he's just something else, and we can't predict injuries here. Come on, man. Just give me the guy with the higher upside. Let's go. All right. I'm getting back into my clock. Okay, so he, in fantasy scoring, I already went over this, but he finished as running back 23 among all running backs in the NFL. That's if he was a running back with no passing at all in there. If you took Lamar Jackson's rushing points away last year, just all of his rushing, he would have finished as quarterback 15 just on his passing alone.
So he would have been Sam Darnold.
Hey, I mean, just on his passing alone, but then you add in a running back 23 and just combine that into one person. That's pretty good. He finished 72.9 fantasy points ahead of the next best fantasy quarterback. 72.9. The next best was Dak Prescott. So Lamar Jackson did all of this in 15 games. He didn't play in week 17 last year. He could have sat out week 16 and 15. So he could have sat out 3 total weeks, and he still would have finished as the QB1 with 354.78 points. If Lamar Jackson sat out after their game in week 11, he would have finished as fantasy quarterback number 12. That's if he sat out after week 11. He still would have been a QB1 in 12-team leagues.
He would have beat out Stafford, like guys like that.
All those guys.
Goff.
Mayfield, all of them. The Ravens O-line is ranked 5th going into 2020 per Pro Football Focus. Their O-line finished as number 2 in 2019. Their offseason acquisitions and losses should only help. I mean, they killed the draft. Absolutely killed the draft. Yeah. And they made some great additions on defense as well. I think Lamar Jackson has a top 5. Oh, yeah. So Lamar Jackson has a top 5 easiest strength of schedule going into 2020 as well. So you just look at that, and it sets him up to be the number 1 scoring asset in 2020.
Good finish.
Boom.
Good finish. I like it.
Thank you. All right. And
my turn.
Matt's up.
My turn. Okay, so Big Patty
Mahomes. All right, you're on the clock starting now.
Okay. Patty Mahomes. Okay, so last year, ADP right now, he is looking at 19 overall, which is the 20. Oh, wait.
He's at 206 now.
206 now. So we're looking at a completion percentage of, once he's came into the league, around 65%, okay, which is stellar. Yards per game.
Worse than Lamar Jackson.
Yards per game, 285, 317, 287. So he's probably gonna be looking at around that 290, 280, maybe 300 zone every game, which is solid. He's not gonna get sacked very much. His first season, he actually had some issues with it. He had 26, but his second season, he almost cut that. Well, not almost. He did a lot better with 17. So he's getting out of the pocket a little bit. He's making You've seen him make passes out of the pocket. Sometimes he looks at his receivers. Sometimes he doesn't. He's pretty good. But he thrives out of the pocket. We saw that in the Super Bowl with Tyreek and Sammy. Yards per catch. Okay, so he's throwing the ball consistently. And this stat also you have to kind of put in running after the catch. But he's consistently going to throw the ball around 12-9. 13-ish yards per pass, which is insane. A lot of quarterbacks are dink and dime. This guy, obviously, if you've watched him play even for like 2 quarters, you know that he's not that guy. On Madden, I think that his one superpower is like bazooka, is what it's called. He's got a bazooka.
He does indeed.
His QB rating is consistently going to be around 105, 110-ish, which takes into account a ton of different stats with interceptions, completion percentage, and basically that's one of the best stats to measure how well a quarterback is in the NFL and how efficient he is as well. In 2018, he was obviously the QB1. I think that was his 50-touchdown season. In 2019, last year, he was QB7, but he only played 14 games. And I think that a lot of the games that he played after that knee injury had a big influence on him being able to get out of the pocket, his mobility, and a bunch of other just basically dynamics to how he plays. A huge part of his success has to do with Andy Reid, obviously. And neither of those guys are going anywhere. He's going to be in the top 3. If not number 1 for years to come, obviously. And then his offensive line is going to probably be around the middle of the pack consistently, but he doesn't really need a solid offensive line. Like I said, he almost throws better out of the pocket than in the pocket. His one little thing down at the bottom, he has Mecole Hardman, which is basically almost a Tyreek version 2.0.
Oh, you got cut off, son.
Oh, man. I didn't even get to CEH. I didn't even get to Clyde.
That's all right. We're getting into the free-for-all now.
Yeah, I'll bring those back.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Obviously, you're going to be happy with either Lamar Jackson or Patty Mahomes at your quarterback position. But let's go ahead and dive into the free-for-all here, make our cases. Go ahead and start us off, Matt, on the clock and now.
Okay, so one thing that we should mention, too, is that when you say Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, you're going to think like, oh, okay, I don't even need to listen to that. These guys are both really good. If I got either of them, I'd be jacked. There was a huge point spread between these players last year.
Oh, absolutely.
I want to say like 40 points.
Yeah. So where did he was QB7 last year, Patrick Mahomes.
QB1, but the gap between QB2 and QB1 was huge.
Oh, yeah. No, that was a 72-point finish. All right, it was a 72-point gap. Lamar Jackson was 72 points ahead of Dak Prescott, who was QB2.
Right.
So
it is relevant. And this is something that you need to take into consideration as well, because on my side, I'm talking about durability. I'm talking about a lot of simple, just the fact that Patty can chuck it deep. He sees Tyreek when he's open. He knows all these tendencies. And just a quote, this is a quick quote from him. I just learned how to read defense halfway through last year. I learned how to pick up tendencies from specific defenses. And he's starting to pick up stuff, in his words, what Tom Brady does. He didn't even know how to do that in his first 50 touchdown season.
Is this true, or is he just blowing some smoke? I mean, he's just trying to get a $500 million contract, right?
I think he already had it. I don't know. He's talking.
I think that's what. I don't know.
If he couldn't even read defenses before, and he's just jackpot 500 his way to 50 touchdowns.
I don't know about that. If you draft Lamar Jackson, you're getting two solid players with one pick.
He is the CMC of quarterbacks.
Let's be honest here. You're getting yourself a running back 2 and a quarterback 2, but roll them into one player. So it's like maybe taking like 2 4th-round picks, but you get it all in one pick up there. So Lamar Jackson, man, is just, god dang, when you watch him play, he can just go for just like a 60-yard rushing touchdown at any point.
Speaking of 60-yard rushing touchdowns, who's on the cover of Madden this year?
Hey, Madden doesn't score me fantasy points, man.
Yeah, but they do have a curse.
Unless we got to simulate our season this year.
Please no. He is Lamar Jackson is cursed.
No, there's no curse. There's no curse. Patty broke that last year, so
no, he didn't. He had the knee injury.
No, but he won the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Who cares about the knee injury? He won the Super Bowl, man.
Oh man,
yeah, no curses. Ain't no curses.
Ain't
all right,
no curses.
Ain't no curses.
Yeah, sure.
I do think with Lamar Jackson, you might see him pass a little bit more this year. A lot of people are talking about that. If that is the case, I'm still not worried. Just going back to those 66% completion percentage and leading in passing touchdowns. So I think you can be happy with him. I think you should take Lamar Jackson over Patrick Mahomes.
He's a pretty good guy. Yeah.
All right. That does it for the free-for-all round 2. And anyway, that'll pretty much do it for the first episode, Matt.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you guys got to listen to a show about why you should pick Patty and Zeke. I'm really glad that you guys can feel more confident about that. That's great.
When you leave here and you go into your drafts and you take Alvin Kamara and Lamar Jackson, you're going to be very, very excited that you did, and you're probably going to win your league.
Yeah, buyer's remorse is what that is.
So, whatever, man. Well, we're going to keep coming back at you guys. Hopefully every week, maybe a couple times a week before the season starts. And then Matt and I are going to be discussing how we want to go about doing our square-offs throughout the season. And we'll keep coming at you throughout this 2020 football season. It's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm. I plan on getting physical with you. Really punching you right in the mouth.
Listen, Squatch, you've evolved, okay?
I have.
You've evolved.
No Bruce Banner.
From the time I found you in that cave
to
when you absolutely destroyed me for defenses and IDP.
I don't even want to hear that.
Defenses, IDP, and kickers.
I feel like I'm getting green all of a sudden.
Oh, my gosh. You're a whole lot less hairy now. So
yeah, that's true.
There's that.
That's good.
All right. And that'll do it for the first episode of the Sasquatch Square-Off. We dueled it out.
We did. It was a good one.
Now we're just going to walk off into the sunset.
Feel satisfied.
Cowboy Squatch. Chairman Ben.
Chaps.
Hey, follow us on Twitter at Chairman Fantasy and at Fantasy Squatch and at Find FF Leagues. Please rate, review, 5 stars. Be much appreciated. Thank you guys for coming out.
Peace.